Waterfall before we start our AMA. I know maybe some of you guys are familiar because basically this is your second AMA on Crypto Arena. So if you guys have not joined the Telegram community and if you guys have not followed them on Twitter, please do, guys. And we already shared the links for this on Crypto Arena community. So once again, guys, we will be starting the AMA in just a few minutes. So while we're waiting, maybe some of you guys can maybe invite your friends over, as this is gonna be a very amazing AMA once again. So yeah.
Yeah, let's please give it a couple of minutes, and yeah, if not, we can start. And yeah, I will fill you in on the on what is going on and what is planned to happen.
Okay, for sure, Mr. Sergey. But still, let's give a few minutes for Mr. Ron. But just tell me whenever you're ready, Mr. Sergey, okay?
Yeah, sounds very good to me. Um, Well, Caitlin, I think let's not make our audience wait. We can start basically, and then Mr. Resnick will join us, and we will, yeah, and then he also will join our discussion.
Sure, Mr. Sergey. So, once again, hello everyone. Hello, Crypto Arena community. Welcome to another Binance Live AMA. And today's AMA that we are getting to talk to is, of course, Waterfall Network. So, I know maybe some of you guys have been familiar with Waterfall because, like I've mentioned before, this is their second AMA onto our community. So, if you guys are new to this, maybe if some of the things that we mentioned here may not be familiar with you, you guys can maybe view the replay of their first AMA once again onto our Binance Live. But once again, here's our second AMA with Waterfall, and today's AMA, guys, we will be joined by Mr. Sergey once again. But today we will also gonna be joined by Mr. Ron Resnick later on, if he's gonna join later on. So we will get to know him later on when he joins. But for now, guys, we have Mr. Sergey joining us for today. So once again, hello, Mr. Sergey, and welcome to Crypto Arena.
Yeah, hello, Caitlin, and hello, dear community of Crypto Arena. I'm pleased to be here, and yeah, excited to share the updates of Waterfall.
Very wonderful. Once again, Mr. Sergey, thank you so much for coming back into Crypto Arena community. So before we actually get into this, let us first maybe have a little bit of an introduction, right? So, Mr. Sergey, maybe some of our listeners may already know you, but for the second time around, can you maybe introduce yourself briefly, and maybe you can also provide us a little bit of an introduction, just a quick overview about what Waterfall is all about.
Yeah, with pleasure. Well, my name is Sergii Grybniak. I hold a PhD in computer science. Uh, Basically, Waterfall is actually my PhD, and I will share some background of me, and you will understand how I went to this. So, basically, I'm 18 years in software development. I started I started my software development company. I started it from a one-man band to basically and grown it to 60 employees. Um, I also was joining I was starting some projects and joining some projects, typically as a technical co-founder. And one of such projects was acquired by one of the top 10 banks in the top 10, I think, at that time. Maybe right now also. I'm not following the charts, but they were in top 10. And yeah, they were acquired by Capital. I'm sorry, they were acquired by one of the top 10 banks in the in the United States. And yeah, it was a Web 2, but not Web 3. So also, we actually, my journey in Web3 started from the basically all my career I spent as a builder in the Ethereum inspired ecosystem. So since 2017, I'm doing this. In the basically one of the first layer tools which was built for Ethereum based on Plasma, which was popular at that time, and we were not the only one who were doing this. But there was also the basically our GitHub repository was first at that time was working prototype of Plasma Cache. It was released like a couple of weeks after Vitalik Buterin presented this design pattern. So yeah, we were doing some experiments with this kind of layer 2 approach. It didn't look to us as a transition from 0 to 1, and we actually from technological standpoint. And again, we have nothing to say about layer 2s and their advancements, and it may be a viable concept, but we at that time decided to explore, we can say, more technologically advanced solutions, and I started my PhD with the again solving the same problem: how to the scalability solutions with the focus on the directed acyclic graphs. So this essentially I went through pretty much every present technology at that time, and basically they this is how Waterfall was born and created. So let me share a couple of updates. Actually, a couple of insights of what is Waterfall. Again, this is supposed to be non-technical AMA. So and Mr. Resnick, by the way, called just now. So probably he will be joining. But while he is joining, I am going to share the on a very high level what is Waterfall. So here is the basically 1 second. I will start sharing the screen. So yeah, this is yeah. So 1 second, I'll share the screen. So yeah, this basically this is how the live testnet of Waterfall looks, and each of these drops is a block, and it basically allows us to have in terms of the block production. So which allows us to, again, if we would visualize the blockchain like this, we would have, for example, the straight line like the one here, or any straight line here, and having a concurrency in this allows us to in block production, and later we're going to implement the parallel processing on multiple levels of this. And it allows us achieving this level of parallelism in multiple senses on the multiple levels allows us to achieve scalability combined with decentralization. And Waterfall actually supports EVM. Waterfall has very low hardware requirements, and we intend preserve them the same way, even with the growth of the network. And our roadmap is actually involves these necessary measures. And yeah, that's who we are. Basically, our testnet currently our first testnet is started in on October of 20 on in October of basically in October of 2021, and currently we are basically it is already like more than 2 years in the testnet, and we have 2,768 validators in our testnet. Worth saying, I mean, it needs to be said that 2,048 of them is controlled by us. But the rest, we don't know who these people are, and they are coming from community or from organization, from organizations, from developers, from future users of Waterfall. And basically, if you do the math, you will find that we already have kind of more than 700 validators owned by community on our not incentivized testnet, and this is and we are and again, this is more validators than most of the networks have on their mainnets. So that's who we are, and that's where we are. And I will leave it here and pass the word to Ron. Yeah.
Sorry, I had a technical problem. I kept logging in and then it duplicated. Sorry.
That is totally okay, Mr. Ron. Once again, Mr. Sergey, thank you so much for that very great introduction about yourself and also about Waterfall. So now let's pass the microphone to Mr. Ron. So, Mr. Ron, since we are still starting our AMA, can you maybe introduce yourself to our community?
Okay, sure. So Ron Resnick, and I spent many years working at Intel and Telecom and Intel Capital, and then in the entertainment game business, hardware and software. And then 4 years ago, I was asked to launch the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So I grew the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance and spent 3.5 years there, and then saw what was missing as far as helping developers really empower their own world of decentralization to really make a change. And when I met Sergey about a year and a half ago, I saw that the enhancements that Sergey has put together with his team over the period of 3 years are so complementary to help growing a community of folks who really want to make a change and really believe in decentralization as a key component to really make this change happen. And so I joined them. So I'm part of a company called Blue Wave. I'm CEO, and we are the developer of the Waterfall protocol that we're all talking about here.
Thank you very much once again, Mr. Ron, and welcome to our community. Okay, so now, since Mr. Sergey already provided our community a little bit something about what Waterfall is all about, now let's discuss maybe some important questions as well in related to Waterfall. So basically, Mr. Sergey mentioned earlier that Waterfall is aimed to solve scalability. But as far as I remember when I was reading through your website, I've read that Waterfall is actually solving a trilemma. So, guys, my next question for you guys is, can you mention some of the relevant problems in the crypto space, specifically the trilemma that you guys are addressing? And by which solutions will Waterfall offer for this?
So should I do it at a high level and then you do it deeper? Sergey. Okay, from more non-technical perspective. Anyway, I've been seeing this trilemma issue from the day I started my work in the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, okay? And it goes even further back. And I remember that 5 years ago, they're always talking about how many transactions per second, and it can never work, and they compare it to, making transactions with MasterCard or whatever, and then and sacrificing decentralization. So this has been going on forever, right? And so and I think that it will continue to go on forever. It's the kind of thing that we do better and better and better to try to get the benefits of what a centralized solution delivers, which obviously is massive scalability. But of course you have centralization, not decentralization. And we're the opposite end. This is what's been going on. So where do you get the convergence, right? And so what Waterfall has built is what I believe, and we hope the community believes, because it enables them to build applications and services that will address what the future folks want to see happen, which is more decentralization, and still be able to get the scalability level and to support whatever the applications and services demand. And so so that's where we are. We think that by what will be offering, what will be offered through the Waterfall platform is a great next step for the community to really investigate and determine, oh, and yeah, and it's EVM compatible. So all the work I've done in EVM, they could go ahead and use it, and it's low node requirements. So that's it at a high level. And we can go over some of the applications and services that developers are going to be building. It's to you, Sergii.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. So yeah, well, it's a non-technical session, so pretty much on the high level and on non-technical level, you covered mostly all of it. But what I have to say is actually, well, there are a couple of things about Trilema. So Trilema actually it is like security, scalability, and decentralization. There are two types of security, probabilistic and deterministic. But generally speaking, security is kind of a must. So if fintech doesn't have security, there is no fintech. So in reality, the main trade-off is happening between scalability and decentralization. And this is why we are actually pointing out to this, because, for example, people often say, let's not care that much about decentralization. Let's care about privacy. Let's care about digital identity. Let's care about, of course, scalability and all of these things. But the reality of this is this. We have Web 2, and now we're transitioning to Web 3. And Web 3 without decentralization is actually a Web 2. And Web 2 doesn't have problems with scalability, with digital identity, with privacy, whatever, you name it. So yeah, this is why we think it is important. And yes, combining scalability and decentralization, we are pushing further the boundaries of this blockchain trilemma. And to be precise, we should say that first, we haven't solved it because there is no strict definition of what does it mean for it to be solved. So we are kind of pushing the boundaries further. So and solving it to the certain level, and then we keep solving. But it is not defined. So basically, it is impossible to say that it is solved. And second thing, we are actually not a blockchain. We are the, some people say that DAGs and DAGs are actually post-blockchain technologies. So we are a DAG, and we intend to further implement this approach on the different levels. So yes, but we are solving the problems which are stated in the blockchain trilemma. So that would probably be a more precise way to say this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ron and Mr. Sergey, for that clarification. Once again, that is very important for our listeners to know. Okay, so now on to the more non-technical questions that I have for you guys. First, let's start off with competition, right? So basically, the crypto space is a highly competitive space. So my question for you guys is, how does Waterfall differentiate itself from other platforms? And can you name some of the best competitive advantage that Waterfall has?
So when I think about competition, I don't. And so I don't think it's important, because if you take a look at what everybody's making, they're all making the same kinds of claims to support this trilemma, et cetera. But what's most important is what we've built. And we would encourage the community to take a look at everybody, let them do it. And what we will encourage, and we'll be making available very shortly, hopefully, is a protocol layer that enables them to do the best job that they can do in building their solutions. They can decide about the competition, but we're not here to say one's better and worse, because it really, it's not that important. It's more important for the community to make their own decisions. And by the way, if we make a claim and you ask the next AMA to, or, you know, who claims to be, you're going to get the same kinds of answers. So our view of the world is we're not concerned about competition. We're concerned about building the best that we can build. And Sergei, with a great team, have done that. And then take a look at it, get started. They'll be able to do it really soon. Sergei will talk about that. And then and here's where we'll be different, maybe not. If we get the community behind us, and we're going to talk about some of the projects we already have going without even launching, we've got a whole bunch of them. We want to hear from them. And then if they get a hold of Sergei, and I won't post his phone number publicly, but at least we'll have a way to get a hold of him. We're going to take a look at it, because we want to help the community get the best out of what we built.
Yeah, should I provide something, or I shouldn't?
No, we don't need to, Sergei. I don't think we really need to go detail we're better or not, to be real honest, you know. And so if you want to, go ahead, but I don't think it's that important. I think they can go take a look at what we've got.
Yeah, well, we also were highlighting this in our previous AMAs. So people who are interested in this, there are different comparison metrics. In a nutshell, there is a wide variety of protocols, and it is very hard to actually observe what everyone is doing. But it still boils down eventually to the same trade-off. They all look very different. Until you start counting the number of validators. And when you start counting the number of validators, there is a lot of similarities. Powerful servers, strong connections, they are kind of located near each other in terms of the connection speed and the bandwidth. So basically, yeah, we're aiming to address the more more higher goal of decentralization. It makes the task a little bit more complicated, and there are, of course, risks in this, but we're enthusiastic, and we are so far not aware of any issues which will prevent us from achieving this goal. So that's what we do.
Thank you once again for that answer, guys. So now another question. Another question that I wanted to ask is, what resources and support does Waterfall Network provide to developers that is building on the platform?
Did you want to say something? Go ahead, Sergei, if you want.
Yeah. So, developers is a little bit of my area. So we, of course, basically you can go on our website and go to talks.waterfall.network. So Waterfall is covered by documentation, and currently, after the launch, we will be releasing a lot more documentation on how to integrate and how to properly participate in for example, contributing to the security of the network through staking. And there are at least three directions of this. First is actually to stake you can stake on your laptop or your personal computer by downloading one-click setup node. You can stake it on Amazon, Hetzner, DigitalOcean, and Google Cloud. And by the way, we are a participant of Web3 startup program of Google Cloud, which actually allowed us to do some pretty impressive testing, which are reflected on our social media channels. So please go ahead and check them. And also we had already experience in organizing and sponsoring the hackathons. And then on one of them, we actually got the absolute majority of the team selected Waterfall compared to multiple other projects. I will not name them, but yeah, they were good projects. So yeah, That's and we also are implementing the again. This is not actually our duties like Ron's and mine, because we are more like on the software development side. So association is doing it, but we have pretty experienced and impressive people working with us who know how to do this, and they basically they're implementing the ambassador programs, they're implementing the different community engagement activities. Association also, to our best knowledge, has allocations for grants and R&D activities. So people who will be interested, researchers, developers who will be interested in contributing to the development of the protocol, they will be most welcome to do so. Also, there is an ecosystem development grant, so developers of the particular applications, they are more than welcome to apply for them as soon as the program is ready. And by the way, to this program, we are planning to implement the DAO-based voting. So to the certain high level, the decision should be made by community about, okay, this is the application which needs to be present. This is what we're going to use. So yeah, and there will be more to this. We actually there are some. We can say we were providing also developers with marketing support, and we currently are having at least 2 announcements per week with new partnerships, with new projects, and we are planning to increase it. We have a processes in place for this, and we are planning to scale these processes. So yeah, that's where we are. And yeah, if you are a developer or a project and you are looking for support and get deployed on Waterfall before our launch, which is coming very soon, we are more than welcome. And by the way, we are already past, I think, 80,000 members in our communities. We haven't done any airdrops or any bounties, etc. So basically, these are people coming from AMAs, from influencers, from people spreading the word. And we are more than happy to introduce the project to this community. So people, developers and projects which are deploying right now, they may initially receive this community. And 80,000 is a pretty big number. And we probably, prior to launch, with the pace it is currently growing, we probably will be able to hit 100 or even more thousand. And this is a good initial market for the projects to be involved. So yeah, thank you for this question, and yeah, happy to provide any more details if needed.
Thank you very much as well, Mr. Sergey, for that. And actually, my next question is still related with the developers. Okay, so the question is Waterfall Network's code base open source? And if so, how can developers access it and contribute to it?
Okay, at the highest level, for sure, we are definitely open source based on an Apache 2 license, which is the most commonly used for diversification for developers to take the code wherever they want to go. It'll be accepted everywhere. So for sure, we're open source. If Sergey, you want to provide a little more detail on that, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. So we are. Yesterday, we finalized the security audit with Hacking. You can, I mean, we finalized it a little bit earlier, but yesterday it was released. So you can find it on the community channels of Waterfall, which are controlled by Association of Waterfall. And you can we are planning to after the launch, we're planning to conduct the secondary security audit by another independent provider. Then we are also going to utilize the some platform, and we are currently looking closely to the to hacking provided bug bounty platform. So then after community, basically we're having secondary security audit, and then we're having the results of the bug bounty from independent developers. This will be the time when we are going to make the code open source. And at that time, we are welcoming actually developers. We're inviting developers and researchers to join our efforts, and we're more than happy to make it as decentralized as possible. Yeah. Thank you.
Very fantastic to know. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Ron and Mr. Sergey, for that. All right, so another question, since we are earlier we talked about some problems, right? So my next question for you guys is, what scalability solutions are being considered or implemented to ensure that the network can handle future growth?
So yeah, they are again non-technical AMA. You are more than welcome to attend our technical AMAs, where we go into details of this. But on a high level, so we have currently concurrent block production. We are later on going to implement parallel execution on a single shard level, and then a concept of virtually unlimited sharding, which is going to be like a parallel execution on the multi-shard level. So basically the simplest way to explain the concept, again, it has many details in this, and it is different in many ways how other people are doing this, but it is a state sharding. So if we think about, again, keeping this high level, there was the time when we had like a single core computers, right? So there were like Intel, Pentium, etc. Prior to them, and these computers, they had like a processor which was processing the tasks like linearly. Basically, they have a linear order for the task, and they were doing one thing after another. And later on, and yeah, basically companies were developing different approaches how to increase the speed of this single core processors. But later on, we switched to the world, and it was introduced like multi-core processors, which are currently everywhere. And basically, they concurrently solve the tasks, and we are on our software level are going to implement the same. So basically, this parallel concurrency in terms of the production, concurrency in terms of the processing, essentially leads us to the concept, which again many protocols are talking about, world computer, right? We can say that we are like multi-core world computer, and this is the innovation. We are a highly decentralized multi-core computer. So, and this again, some people may think, okay, but why do we need this? And this is like the question for example, like there were single core computers, right? And then there are multi-core computers. And what was the difference? Is it just like a parallel execution and the growth of the scalability of the procedures? Yes, it is this, but look how world has changed over the last 20 years, right? Because of the introductions of these technologies. And this is the next step in the technology development. And now all this beauty of this digital world is available because of, in particular, at least partially because of this innovation. So we are introducing the next step in the industry development, and we are highly enthusiastic about it and excited to do it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much as well, Mr. Sergey, for the very detailed answer. Once again, that is very amazing. All right, so now on to my next question, which actually is the focus of our non-technical AMA for today. So basically, we all can agree how partnerships and collaborations are very essential in driving project growth. So actually, this question have two parts. So first, let me ask Mr. Ron. So, Mr. Ron, can you tell us some of the partnerships that Waterfall is trying to forge with?
Sure, I'd be happy to. We have some that are really interesting, and we're every week we're getting more inquiries with partnerships, and we're doing outreach as well. Some examples. One we really like is a decentralized commodity exchange, and so where we've got a partnership, there'll be an announcement, and it has to do more in agriculture and the marketing and selling of seeds and crops. So we're building the commodity exchange to help for that. Another one, we're working with NFTs. We're working one on gaming. There'll be an announcement there where we have a gaming partner who is using our protocol for it. Of course, what's very important that our infrastructure providers for anyone who wants to put their node not in their home computer. So we've signed a large number of agreements because what's most important for the community, the community is global. And so there'll be a whole list of companies who promote infrastructure in their respective geos from Brazil, we're talking Mexico, all over the world. And we have nothing to do with it other than we're just empowering them to work with the community. So we want nothing out of it. All we want to do is make it easier for the community to grow the number of validators that they can plan on their node. So it makes it easy for them. So we have a whole bunch of those already in place. In addition, we have a company that is we're a big proponent of global interoperability. So that's why when you talk about competition, I wish the competition would collaborate more. To be really honest, I tried that in the past, and unfortunately, just the nature of the dynamics of how this world works. It's not the world I come from. I came out of telecom and Intel. Guess what? Everybody's phone went from 3G to 4G. 3G, you're paying roaming charges and all kinds of other costs. Now you don't, right? I wish that would happen. So our view of the world is not competition. Our view is global interoperability. And I wish that would get better. We're going to do some things in the future to try to help promote that. So we've got an agreement that will be announced shortly on bridging interoperability to the other protocols. And so that's happening. We also have another one where there are a lot of folks who want to run their node, but they're very scared and nervous about bad actors getting into the software, and so they either have to have a like a hardware wallet, but there's another way to do it technically, and there'll be an announcement coming out soon. We're I think one of the few guys are putting this together, but again, everybody who wants to do it in their protocol, they should. So we'll announce them. But it's called a secure enclave. So if you have a hardware storage and the computer, it has to be built into the hardware of the computer. It's impenetrable compared to having somebody try to be online all the time and have a bad actor try to get access to your, to steal. So we just entered a verbal agreement yesterday. Sergei and I were in the call with it. It's really interesting of what's going to happen there. And I think a lot of the community is going to be really interested in that because that's a scary thing to think, oh, I'm online all the time. And so we have a solution there. And this offer, again, to the competition, I'm very competitive, but I don't believe we just need to do all the right things to make things work, and hopefully that'll work out for us. We have some other programs, module and network for omni-chain dApps. That's another one where we're building a bridge to Bitcoin. We have another one with bridging to Bitcoin, and there's more coming. And on this call, if anyone is interested and they're building a dApp and they just want to be powered by something that, let's say that they like what we've built, all they have to do is reach out to us, and maybe they have one that's already enabled, and with all the things we're doing, get a hold of us, because we're all about having the dApp developers be successful. If they're successful, then hopefully that'll work out for us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ron, for that. And now, in connection with Mr. Ron's answer, Mr. Sergey, can you maybe now clarify to us how do these integrations benefit the Waterfall network as well as your users?
Well, yes. Thank you so much for this question. We are, it again comes from our internal approaches. We are like system oriented and process oriented. So, and the end result oriented. So basically, we created some sort of a like mini map of the necessary applications for this, and we for ecosystem to exist. And that's again mainly done on association side, but we, of course, as technical group is involved into this. So sorry, that's not it. This is it. So basically, yeah, our primary targets are bridges, oracles, digital identity, liquid staking, staking infrastructure providers, DEX, swaps providers, lending protocols, gaming, NFTs, stablecoins, wallets. And there could be others, because we already have some other partnerships also in place. Some of these categories already have like multiple providers in them, some still vacant. So our job is actually to create and again, it is mainly like association's job, is to create the viable ecosystem for many promising fintech applications to exist, and many good projects to be able to be present. And we are enthusiastic about it. We are having a good traction, which I already mentioned in the past. We are going to scale it further, and it also will scale naturally after the network launch, because because of obvious reasons. So the thing is, yeah, that's a plan, and we are having progress in it, and we are aiming to scale it, and we have confidence in us being able to make it happen. Thank you for this.
Thank you very much as well, Mr. Sergey, for that. Once again, that's a very great answer. Okay, so now another question for you, Mr. Sergey. So now something related into the future. Mr. Sergey, can you provide us an overview of the Waterfall Network's roadmap for the next, let's say, for the time frame of 6 to 12 months ahead?
So again, thank you for the good question. This kind of things in details were highlighted in our previous technical AMAs. But long story short, our research department, which I'm head of, is going to work on the parallel processing on the multiple levels. So the targets is actually light clients and parallel execution and intersections of this. So our job is actually to fragment the network, to preserve, despite the growth in the network, to preserve low node requirements, and to essentially, if and when we are successful, we believe that it is when, to bring us to the concept of like the notion of the DEX initially was The more decentralized it is, the more scalable it is. So we are working towards this direction. This is going to happen on the research side. On the development side, in the closest months, it will be the process of polishing. Because again, we ended up security audit like recently. There were you can read what actually was found there. But for example, they requested to update the version of Golang, which doesn't change the logic, but it involves a lot of updates to the code. So our job is now to ensure the stable work of the network and ensure usability levels, because there are a lot of things should be implemented in place. And basically, a couple of weeks from now, we will be working to improve this. And then we are going to to start implementing these concepts of kind of increasing the level of parallelism of the of this technology. And that's the technology goal. So probably again, the roadmap is on our website. We sometimes are updating it if we are changing the priorities, because again, after gaining some empirical evidence, we may change the priority. Okay, this should be addressed earlier than this. But so far, based on the results we achieved, we are not planning to make it yet, but we may plan it in future. So please follow our social media channels. Please check our website, and you will get the most relevant information there. Thank you.
Thank you very much as well, Mr. Sergey, for that. So once again, guys, a detailed discussion about the roadmap is provided into our previous AMA, which is the technical part of Waterfall. So if you guys are curious about that, you guys can watch it on the replay section of our Binance Live channel. Okay, now on to our next questions. On to our next question, guys. So, are there any educational resources and tools that Waterfall would utilize in order to induce mass adoption? And how will you guys facilitate the shifting from Web 2 to Web 3?
Okay, well, I think that should happen on its own. It's really interesting when you talk about Web 2 and Web 3. And I've talked to some folks in the enterprise space, because that's the world I came out of. Some of them, it's really interesting. There's not a clear understanding, and I believe this yet, of how Web3 will impact the global ecosystem, including the community. How does it integrate with Web2 solutions? And so the bottom line is what we're trying to do. There are solutions that are Web2 based, and there's solutions that are Web3 based. I actually think that with what you're seeing on the waterfall, obviously that is to empower Web3 and really make it work. And then it's up to the application developers to figure out what they do. And so when I think about the purists who are going to build something that is solely decentralized, it's challenging and has issues just as much as the folks who are the purists who just only believe in a centralized world. So I think we'll see a lot of efforts by folks who are claiming to make, for example, I'll give you an example, decentralized storage. It's very challenging now, because how do you compete against going to a Dropbox or a Google where you can get an instant answer, right, on something, or even a chat GBT? Okay, so if we had to ask all these folks who are believers, and I am too, and I know folks who are building open source AI or large language models, how do you make it work? And so I think so to your question, I think if anyone gives an answer that says we really know what's going to happen in Web 3.0, I don't know what drugs they're on, but I think that it makes sense for us to keep working hard at our level, and that's what Sergei's team spent 3 years on. We have the right resources, I believe, so that the folks who are going to build, and they're real believers of how decentralization is going to help and build a better society and do all the good things, well, at least they have the right tools, and that's all that we can do. If we don't know, I mean, there's like what Sergii is showing, all these things, bridges, oracles. Those aren't the solutions that can be offered out in the world. Those are tools. Those are things that they are going to use, and then it's up to the developers to use those things, right? And in my world, when I was even at EA, I helped them put together an architecture stack, because back then they don't even exist that well. there were folks like the chain link. I know a lot of these guys. They're busy working to try to do things so you can get decentralization off chain and stuff like that. So Web3, Web2, I almost don't like the fact that we're even using those kinds of terminology. It should be, what's the better way to build a world that makes good for the community? How do they implement solutions that are decentralized with the right tools, which hopefully we're one of them? What are they going to build? And if I had to guess, I think you're going to see combinations of solutions, because you still need, a way to get access to sometimes some things centralized, and it'll be a nasty word, the hypocrisy. What you're still seeing are folks who claiming, they're the decentralized world. A lot of companies are trying to say we're decentralized, but they still have to use some things that are centralized or what. And there's nothing wrong with that. So that's a long answer to your question. I don't like to split Web 2 and Web 3 like that. I think it's really, where is this going? And I'll end with this. When I talk to folks in the enterprise world, they don't like it either. They don't like the notion of saying Web 3, because then they could say Web 2 is no good, right? Which isn't the case. And so we shouldn't do that. And so I think what we've done is very helpful. And then let's see what the application developers build.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ron, for that. That is a very amazing answer, by the way. Okay, so it appears that we have less than 7 minutes for the free call that we're in, but still, there are only two questions for the AMA. So let me just ask the next question. So, are there any programs or initiatives that are in place in order to incentivize community contributions?
Well, I think again to make it short, we have highlighted in the past that there are educational activities, there are some grant activities, there are community engagement activities, there is a support from association for the new project for coming in, including marketing support, etc. So yeah, all of this is going to happen. It may not all of this is being active right now, but it will be turning on iteratively, and we are creating the processes for all this to function. And yeah, that is what is needed for the healthy ecosystem. Thank you for this question.
Thank you very much as well for that. Okay, so hold on. Let me cite my last question for you guys. Okay, so just to wrap up our AMA for today. So, guys, can you tell us what are some of the major developments and future prospects that we shall look forward into for Waterfall in the next few months? Hold on, my camera is like bugging, but yeah, anyway, that's a question.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Well, in the next few months, it will be more the process of polishing the process, the convenience level, and stability level. So that is what is going to happen in the next few months. So we are launching. And people are already, again, we could have spent a little more time on doing this internally, but we do have some interest in our community, and we are doing this for community to be able to start already utilizing the network, and then some of the updates will be coming on the on the go, and we have already tested this forking mechanism. So that's what we're going to be doing. So yeah, stabilizing and polishing, and then transferring to the execution of the future roadmap, which we have highlighted previously. Thank you for this question.
Thank you very much as well for that, Mr. Sergey and Mr. Ron. Once again, Crypto Arena community, do not forget to follow them on their social media links to not miss any important updates about Waterfall. So I think that is all the questions that we have for today's AMA. Once again, thank you so much, Crypto Arena community, for your participation and for joining our AMA for today. And thank you so much as well, Mr. Ron and Mr. Sergey, for this very amazing interaction with you. This has been a great honor for our community. Thank you so much, guys.
You're welcome. We'll see you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for the great questions.
Thank you
Uh,
so much. Yeah. Have a very great day, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
yeah,
Bye.
bye bye.